Well, I think a big thing for me mentally was, like, first off, I was always a positive person. That's my parents raised me to be that way. Like, look for the bright side, which helps. And I mean, nobody's like amazing when they first start. Like, most people aren't gonna be great at wrestling as soon as they start. But I started wrestling a little bit later than some. I started in grade 8, so I was like 13 years old maybe. Yeah, and I got beat up for a long time. Like, especially, I think by the time I was 15 or I think 16, I started training with the U of A team. They brought me in as a high school student. Coach Dawkins saw me at a practice, and I was also, my coaches at the time were wrestling with the team, and so they brought me in, and I had a good probably 2 years where those guys just whooped my butt every day. Like, I think it was like 65 when I was in junior high. Yeah, I think that was a long time ago. I was about as tall as I am now, and I was like stick thin, so it was it didn't, like, as soon as I started wrestling, I started putting on some muscle, so I went up weight classes pretty quickly. Yeah, but I was about that height, but yeah, just much lighter, because I hadn't done, I tried out a lot of sports and they didn't stick, so I wasn't a very athletic or physical kid until I found wrestling. I'd say since I started wrestling in grade 10 with the university program, every year up until, this is the only year I didn't hear it, but my coach was telling me I'd be the heavyweight one day, and I was able to get through university wrestling, escaping that, luckily. So
Imagine 125 kilos.
I'm quite okay. I don't have the frame for that. Oh yeah, well, like, even this past year at U Sports, I had a really difficult final. It was a little bit of a heartbreaker for me because it was my last year of eligibility. And I took that one pretty hard in the moment. But even that one's tough, because even if you watch the match, I wasn't really in it in the moment. You know, I can't really sit here and say I wrestled that match to the best of my ability, because I didn't. I had a tough weight cut, and I was out for injury, and I mean, my opponent was the better man that day. Lucas Geske.
Lucas Geske.
Yeah. Yeah.
You wrestled before?
Yeah, we wrestled in the past, and I had better showings against him. And the stars kind of didn't align on this one. And then in the moment when some of that stuff, I generally rely pretty heavily on my cardio, and just being able to attack. And he had my number. He knew some of the stuff I do, and the weight cut took my cardio away pretty early, and I just didn't have it in me to push through it, which is normally how I do it.
Because that's you had to make it to 82 kilos, right?
Yeah, it was a last-minute decision, because we had an injury on the team, and I was supposed to wrestle 92.
92. Oh wow. That's a big
And it was I made the weight last year, and it sucked, but it was doable, but it was a little bit more difficult this year, I think. But yeah, it was really, really difficult in the moment, and maybe for a couple weeks afterwards.
Yeah.
But I was still. You always get out of that, and you have to reflect on it and be like, I did the best I could. Like, obviously not the result you hope for or expected.
Still in the final, and you got the silver.
Exactly, but it's always difficult when you're that close, and well, it depends if I'm winning or losing.
Yes,
Honestly, I personally think I am under less stress when I'm losing a close match with that much time left, because it's kind of it's that go for broke, like, nothing to lose mentality. And especially, I'm someone where, again, I'm not the most technical, but I can put up points, and I know, like, they're trying to get away from me and not get scored on, and that's my opportunity where, like, they're panicking and they're going to slip up if I'm down 1 or 2 points, or it's criteria. So I personally prefer that. But going through my head, I'm like, it's pretty much just like more just like figuring out how to find a way when I'm down. when I'm up, I'm kind of just freaking out. I'm just trying to find the best, like mostly just in my head, just thinking like I got to keep position. I have to keep a really good stance to keep them away. And a lot of the time, a lot of my coaches especially don't like this. I like I'll just grab it onto the leg. Like I got long arms and I can get in on the leg, and if I have a couple seconds left to stall it out and they're pressuring really heavy, if I can get the leg, then I can just trap them for those last few seconds. But yeah, I'm just panicking mostly if I'm up. If I'm up, yeah. I don't, there aren't really many rules that I dislike. I wish they would bring back the optional technical superiority.
Optional technical.
So I don't know when it was, but coaches always talk about it. There's a video of I think it was Adam Satiev or Bolsover Satiev wrestling a Cuban, and the Cuban scored on him. And I think it was Adam Satiev. He got mad, and I guess back then you would take them to a technical superiority, and then you could choose if you kept wrestling or not.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was like a very short period of time, I believe.
That's a cool one.
And Adam Satiev ended up like winning the match like 42-4 or something ridiculous like that. And I think that would be like even just
You
for
want to bring it back?
I think once in a while if someone is really bugging you.
And then he wanted to continue?
Well, he teched him. Yeah, he teched him very quickly, and then I guess back then. Do you remember? Know about this rule? Yeah. And then they ask like, "Oh, do you want to keep wrestling?" And you're like, "Yeah." And then he just kept scoring and scoring and scoring because he was mad about it.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was such a thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
So you want that comeback?
Yeah, I don't know how often I'd use it. I think generally I get to 10 points and I'm pretty like, yeah, okay, I'm good. I go eat something and then wait for my next match. But having the option, I think, would be interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
I can't think of one. I where it's someone that's been beating me and I was like, I have to like switch it to beat this person. I'll think like there was I was at the Spanish Grand Prix this summer, and I was like happy with how I did through the tournament. I wrestled a guy from the Congo and I beat him, and then I wrestled a guy from Spain. It was a Russian named Friev, and that guy beat me up. And then I beat a Turk and one other person. And then I was in the bronze medal match against a guy from Kazakhstan. And he was, older than me, and he was bigger than me, and he was short, and he had big legs, and I was watching his other matches, and he was looking really good. And I was, before the match, I was like, I don't know if I can beat, I don't know if I can beat this guy. So I just gonna go out there and try and make him like hate all 6 minutes of it. And it was a big switch for my wrestling in general, where like I was never not aggressive, but it just changed the way I hand fought. It kind of like, it was a light bulb in my head, because I just went out there and I just wailed on the guy's head, and I pressured the whole match, and I didn't give the guy an inch, and I ended up winning. But it was one where I kind of threw like the game plan I had for the whole tournament out the window, and was like, I'm just gonna go and wrestle, and just go and wrestle as hard as I can. And a lot of stuff I'd been working on came together in that match that hadn't been coming together. And it was also kind of just that idea that our coaches always push, that really got cemented, where you can't go out there thinking, first of all, I gotta win this match, and you can't go out there thinking I'm gonna hit this in this match. You have to go out there thinking I'm gonna wrestle, I get to wrestle, and then the win will come after that. But also just being open to what comes your way. Like I said, I always wrestle my style, and I'm always gonna try and wrestle. I'm not going to change my game plan depending on the opponent, except in this circumstance where I'm like,
Which is a smart.
yeah, and it was, I thought, why not, go and just see what I can do, and it worked out.
That was the Grand Prix Spain in last year?
Yeah, this past summer, yeah. And it really helped me, just really helped me going forward after that. It changed a lot of how I thought of mainly my hand fighting, and pressuring people, but just the sport, just how I was approaching it. My toughest opponent.
Canada, who, I mean, he always challenges you.
It's difficult to say, especially it's with my weight class. The opponents change quite often. So there are lots of people that I've wrestled repetitively, but there's not many. I would say it's a little bit, not like a pat on the back for our program, but say right now my toughest opponent would be PK McCracken, who trains in our room. That guy is just mean, and he pushes.
But he's not even in your weight category.
He will be, I think. I think he'll be wrestling at seniors.
This national, he's gonna do 79.
Is he doing 79?
Yeah, he told me.
Oh, okay. Double check with him because he looks a little bigger than 79. But he's mean, and he just never stops pressuring. And he's especially the kind of guy that if he sees you getting tired, he'll make you pay for that, which is really really good to stop, because everyone has that when they get tired, their technique starts to go.
That you're gonna challenge him too.
Well, yeah, I hope so. I like to think I challenge him, but he's.
You guys never wrestle.
We never wrestled in the tournament. No, he was always lighter than me. So yeah, maybe in the future. I think it'd be a lot of fun to compete against him in a tournament. I think, well, I don't know, there's the easy one. It's like how difficult wrestling is, like everybody says. And then everyone's always like people outside of the sport often won't believe that. And it's not something that you'll understand until you actually go to a practice or you do it. It is it is one of the most difficult sports in the world. But I think one I always find is just the aspect of weight cutting. Especially people that haven't, because there's not too many besides combat sports. It's like rowing is one of the only other sports that does weight cutting, and I think a lot of combat sports don't have, besides MMA, the weight cutting isn't as extreme as it is in wrestling sometimes. So I think that people always seem surprised and also really interested when I bring up cutting weight and how much weight some of the wrestlers cut, and just the process behind it. For me personally, I know I've had some other teammates that felt the same, but the weight cut always kind of, when you have a big weight cut like that, for me it takes that pressure off of competing. Especially when I'm only doing it for a university championship. I'm sitting there for the week before, starving, just thinking about I have to make this weight, this sucks, I have to get through this, and then just thinking about that first bottle of water I can have, that first meal I can have after I weigh in. So for me that always helped with my mental game, because I tend to overthink, sit there and overthink and get in my own head, and that allowed me to just focus on the task at hand, and then after that I'm just happy that happy that I can eat again.
So then what's the food that really motivates you after weighing?
It's difficult. It's kind of like that, people always say don't go shopping when you're hungry, and it's that you go into a grocery store and you just get everything.
But what is the one specific food that you want to have after
specific? So we don't often have it after weigh-in, but the food I would say I'm always thinking about is sushi.
You
Like
have
I'm
to
always,
eat it.
yeah, like
So if someone brings you
if someone brought me
you
sushi, I would
it.
eat it. I have a pretty, I do have kind of a plan for after the weigh-in with what I eat, so I wouldn't, like I would maybe have sushi later in the night. Like I would probably go and have dinner and generally have like pasta and meat for dinner. And then maybe like right before I go to bed, I might have a few pieces of sushi, but generally it goes like water and then crackers, and then I'll do, and a lot of people, even some people on my team started being like, they were like a little wary about this, but I started doing instant ramen, like maybe like 10 minutes after weigh-ins, just because it's a hot meal and it's simple carbs and a lot of salt. And then a little bit longer, and I'll do some like yogurt granola, and then we get like then we can have a big meal afterwards, which is always pretty exciting.
Do you have a signature move?
Signature move? Not really. I do like.
I watch you a lot, but I don't know if you have one.
Well, that's kind of so. That's so I kind of like, I. Again, I'm never like going in like I'm gonna hit this. Like I kind of see what happens sometimes. I like the grapevine throw a lot. I started working on that I think 4 years ago, and I've had success with it, like in Canada and internationally, because I'm a longer guy and I have long legs, so it's easy for me to wrap up people's legs. And then I'm a pretty stiff guy. I'm not very flexible, and I'm not great at especially bending my back. But it's a throw where you can control your opponent very like well. You control their leg and their arm, and you have their body against your body. So that one I had a lot of success with, especially as a counter to single legs. Yeah, it happens often enough. It's not like an every match kind of thing, but I've hit it at most tournaments. I think I started hitting it at most tournaments. It's one I enjoy a lot too, that I will look for if it's there. But I've had a bad history with throwing and putting myself to my own back, so I'm cautious with throws. I try to save them for when I need them or for when they're really there. I'm definitely more of a leg dominant wrestler.
Okay.
Yeah.